Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
Performing Keriah upon visiting the Western Wall, Temple Mount area. So the heart of which Jew does not yearn for Zion, does not yearn to visit the Temple Mount, to visit the Kosel Amaravi, the wall that absorbs so much of our tears and prayers. And the question is asked, is one required to perform Keriah, to tear his garment upon visiting the Kosel? So we have an explicit Gemara in Meseches Mayid Katan, page 26a, recorded in the Shulchan Aruch, chapter 561, halacha 2, in the Mechaber, in the laws that apply of Zeicher L'Chorban, the laws that the sages enacted as a memory of the destruction, that upon seeing the Temple Mount, which is referring to the area of the Dome of the Rock, where the Dome of the Rock sits today, one is to say, Beis Kadsheinu V'Sifarteinu Asher Halaluch Holchu Ba'aviseinu Haisa L'Sreifas Eish V'chol Machanenu Haisa L'Charava. And one is then to perform Keriah, to tear his garment. As the Mechaber explains in Halacha 4, the tear must be done while standing, using one's hands, although the custom today is to do it with a knife. And you're supposed to tear all of your clothing covering your chest, with exception to the tzitzis and undershirt, which is not done. One tears a full tefach, 8 centimeters of the clothing, as rules the Mechaber in Halacha 2, and these tears may never be fully resewn, as rules the Mechaber in Halacha 4. Some poskim write that while one is doing the Keriah, or before doing so, one is to recite the blessing of Baruch Dayina Emes without Hashem's name. So writes the Bach in 561, and the Mishnah Berurah, and the Kaf HaChaim, and other poskim. In fact, when the Rebbe Rayatz visited the Temple Mount, visited the Kosel Amaravi, as brought in Masa Rebbe L'Eretz HaKodesh, chapter 7, the Rebbe Rayatz performed Keriah, and he recited the blessing of Baruch Dayina Emes without Hashem's name, as record these poskim. So while this is a simple ruling in the Gemara and in the Shulchan Aruch, many people today do not do so, and the question is why, and do they have upon what to rely, or is this just a lack of knowledge or lack of care, chas v'shalom, to follow the ruling in Shulchan Aruch, and everybody should do so when they're visiting the Temple Mount, visiting the Kosel Amaravi. So this concept that people were accustomed not to do the Keriah is already recorded in the poskim, in the Radbaz, Tshuva 646, the Chidah and Birkei Yosef, the Sharei Tshuva, with regards to Jerusalem residents, that they are not accustomed anymore to do Keriah when they come to the Kosel, when they see the Temple Mount. Now, even though from the letter of the law, the Mechaber in Shulchan Aruch 561 halacha 5 rules that one must perform Keriah every 30 days upon seeing the Temple Mount area, and thus even Jerusalem residents should be doing Keriah every 30 days when they see it, nonetheless the custom is not to do so. And while this ruling was brought, this minhag was brought regarding Jerusalem residents, practically today it has spread to almost everyone who visits. And while the poskim do not defend this custom, they do give some suggestions of why people are accustomed not to do the Keriah. The Mishnah Halachos writes that perhaps the entire obligation is only if a person is saddened when he sees it and feels the feeling and emotion of sadness, and he tears his shirt out of the sadness. But today he's going to be more sad that he tore his shirt than seeing the Mikdash in its destructive state. So what's the point of tearing the shirt? This is one approach in understanding of the custom. Another approach is offered in Mincha Shleimer of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, that those who live in Eretz Yisrael are already used to it, so they're not pained anymore. So once again, they don't perform Keriah. Over those who come from Chutz La'aretz are to perform Keriah, says Shlomo Zalman. Other give us a suggestion that in truth the Western Wall, the Kosel, is not at all part of Makam HaMikdash. It is the Western Wall, foundation wall of the Temple Mount. It's not a wall of the actual temple. And since Yerushalayim today is rebuilt, there's no need to perform Keriah simply by going to the Kosel, and only if you actually see the Temple Mount area, the Dome of the Rock, do you have to do so. Despite all these justifications, practically, it is best for every individual, especially if he comes to the diaspora, but also for non-Jerusalem residents, who come to visit the Kosel and come and see the Temple Mount area, to bring with them an old shirt that they do not mind tearing, and to perform this mitzvah as literally required in the Talmud and Shulchan Aruch. So is apparent from the letters of the Rebbe regarding this issue that Keriah should be performed, and so, as we said, was performed by the Rebbe Rayatz. This applies both to men and women. Women are also chayiv in this kriya. However, children below the age of bar bas mitzvah are not obligated to perform this kriya. Now you have some people who do acknowledge the obligation, but do a circumvental trick in which they sell their shirt to somebody else, hence making believe that it's no longer my shirt, so I don't have to perform kriya on it. Practically, this circumvention is not really halachically valid. The sale is most likely ineffective, for reasons explained in the Gemara Ma'id Katem and in Hilchas Avelis regarding kriya. When you borrow someone's shirt and he knows you're going to a Beis Ha'avel, you're allowed to perform kriya, and certainly here the guy knows you're going to the Kaisel HaMaravi, and that's why you're doing this. So this circumvention doesn't really work from a halachic standpoint. So even if one thinks of doing so, it's better to bring an old shirt and perform kriya to it. Once kriya is performed, one does not have to walk around with a torn garment, which is quite shameful and embarrassing. He can take it off and then put on a normal shirt. So once again, you bring with you a bad shirt, perform the kriya of 1 tefach, and then take it off and switch. Now, can you save this shirt for another kriya? The answer is yes. You can save the shirt for every time you visit the kaisel, and you can make enough tiers that the shirt will allow, so long as each tier is a distance of 6 centimeters from the original tier. Now, all this applies if one visits the kaisel, the Temple Mount area, where you can see it from, on a normal, regular day. However, on certain days of the years we will now list, one is not obligated to perform kriya, and it is not done at all, even according to those who are normally stringent to do so. Which days does this apply to? So the list of days is recorded in Sefer Eretz Yisrael, Rav Tukachinsky, Rakodesh, B'Tzalach Chacham, Gus Moshe, and others, that although from the letter of the law the only days of exception are Shabbos and Yontiv, when it's halachically forbidden to make a tier, the custom is not to do kriya on any of the following days: Erev Shabbos past midday, Erev Yontiv past midday, during Chol HaMoed, on Purim during Chanukah. However, regarding days that Tachanun is omitted, such as Reish Chodesh and the like, kriya is to be performed, although some are lenient regarding all days that Tachanun is omitted, not to perform kriya. May Hashem merit the rebuilding of Tzion, of Yerushalayim, of Makim HaMikdash, and these halachas will once again become only in theory and not in practice.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.